And what in heaven's name brought you to Casablanca?
My health. I came to Casablanca for the waters.
The waters? What waters? We're in the desert.
I was misinformed.
He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
Using his vast knowledge of history and politics, we start our day off right with motivational speaker Richard Battle.
And we love having him on. Merry Christmas, Mr. Battle. How are you?
Merry Christmas, Al, to you, your family, and all the listeners out there.
I appreciate that very much. This is my jam. I love this time of season. I'm a little spoiled by it, quite frankly. My wife does all the decorating, and it's like Santa threw up in my house. I mean, she just, every year, it's just tinsel, it's all, and I don't have to do anything. I haul the buckets up that she needs if she can, and I put them down. I get to live the Christmas spirit. I don't have to do crap. I love Christmas. Christmas is a fantastic holiday.
Well, I think most of us have been spoiled by the ladies who've taken such good care of us for Christmas. And you're not the only one. My mother and maternal grandmother were the same way.
Yeah.
And they made the magic when I was
absolutely.
younger. And it was the memories from that are irreplaceable.
Agreed. Do you have any tradition that really sticks in your head as far as what you have to do? And I'll give you a little time to think. Mine is at Christmas Eve, we would generally do ribs because I like ribs, and then we'd get done by 7 so we can watch The Christmas Story on TBS, which would run for 24 hours. It's just something we started doing years ago for no particular reason, but it's just our thing. It's our jam. Do you have anything like that?
Not like that. I like that movie and try to see it once a year, but not opening gifts until Christmas morning was, I guess, the big tradition. And the one time when I was a kid that we got to open one gift, we were at my grandparents' farm, my dad's parents, and I loved them, but there was never any toy gifts there. And we were driving from there to my maternal grandmother's where Santa Claus showed up. And it was raining, and we got to open one gift, and I got a yellow raincoat, and that was my one gift I got to open early on Christmas Eve one time.
Oh, that's funny. We were sticklers on that same thing. We can open. It's Christmas Eve. It's like, now Santa comes on Christmas Day. When my kids were little, we did not. There's no way we waited for that. It's just funny to think like that. That's how we were the same, the absolute way. Meaning at Christmas for you, though, I mean, we're celebrating. We talk about, Christmas traditions with movies and that sort of thing. But this is all about the birth of our Savior, right?
Well, absolutely. And while we enjoy the family and Santa Claus showing up and the food, I think back to my mother and my grandmother's cooking and everything and miss it terribly. While we think of all that, we shouldn't lose sight on the real meaning of Christmas and the birth of Jesus that we celebrate. And whether he was born December 25th or some other day in the year, who cares? It's all about the meaning of the birth, not the actual day it happened. And so I think that's so critical for us to make sure we remember and we make sure we communicate.
And it has changed so much. I mean, you talk about your grandmother and the things we're talking about now, the memories. We can only be so thankful how materialistic we can be in the United States, right? I mean, Halloween hits and then Christmas has got to go up so stores can sell you everything possible. But when you and I talk about our Christmas, it's almost never about the gift, your raincoat. That's the one you remember. It's like, when you boil it all down, no one's going to remember the gift. It's going to be those memories you got to share with them as people and the food they made or the smells or the Christmas traditions. We've become very materialistic, but in America, we got to be proud of that. We've come so far that we're not, that's what we can do.
Well, the materialism today is different also. And so today I asked my daughter for a list. And so she goes on the internet and sends me links to things that's on her list, so to speak. Whereas when we grew up, you think back, our internet was the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
I just was going to say
we
the Sears
would
catalog.
pour through that catalog and find things, and we dog-ear pages and put stars on things and have 1,000.
We live the same lives. We live the same lives. That's so funny.
So That's something that kids today cannot imagine, a Sears and Roebuck catalog and having the whole internet basically at your fingertips in one palm of your hands.
And then the trips to Sears are how long it took to mail. I mean, you can get something dropped off from Amazon the same day now, which is just crazy to me, and how much gets shipped out. But yeah, that was a whole process deciding what you wanted because you knew you weren't going to get it all, and then you're just thumbing through the Sears and Roebuck. You get that the ink on your fingers because you're going through. I love the Sears and Roebuck catalog.
Well, that and 2 years, my dad was transferred to Chicago, so we lived there 2 years.
Okay.
And I can remember being in line to go back to the school after our lunch break and seeing the post office, the postman show up at our house, and I could tell he was bringing in this big package that had come from my grandmother back in Texas.
All right.
And how thrilled I was. So it wasn't the Amazon driver then, it was the post office driver that would bring things from distant relatives.
That is so funny. It is probably, it's getting back to Jesus and the birth of Jesus. I find this weird in my head, and I know I'm wrong. Love church, don't get me wrong, love going to church, but I always get amazed at Christmas Eve service and Christmas Day. You know, the house will be packed. And I always find myself saying, where are you all year? But that's okay. You know, we got to get people back, got to get people thinking about back to what Christmas is all about. And the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day services are the best of the year. So
well, they're the best. And what I love, especially, is when it's dark and it's candlelit service.
That's what I'm saying.
The music is incredible, not only for the sound, but the meaning of the music. Is the best music all year as well. And when you get somebody who can really sing, which is not me, and they sing the solos, I mean, it is just, you get goosebumps hearing that because it is so moving, the sound, but the meaning, because we realize the gift we were given. Though we give gifts, we were given the greatest gift of all time then.
See that? You talk about the great services. I remember going to my dad's church. My folks are divorced when I was just a kid, and they did the candle service, right? But you had to be old enough. And that I remember the first year my dad said I was old enough that I could hold the burning candle and just watch. I mean, it just brings a little bit of a tear to my eye because, like, oh, that was like the greatest service. The whole, I was looking at that, holding that, saying, yeah, here's where God, Jesus, that's just funny, Battle. That hit me really hard. Thank you for bringing that memory up. Let's talk about those. I did a show, and we taped it. It'll be playing here over the holiday with a group of for folks who have problems with alcoholism, and we did the show on how the holidays can be tough for them. I think as we sit here talk about the abundance and that sort of thing, we need to remember there are some people who are not going to be having a great Christmas this year, whether it's alcoholism and having to fight through parties that are going to be going on, whether it's the loss of loved ones. There's tough times for some people, and we need to be open about that and be looking for it.
Well, that's exactly correct. And when I was 9, and we'd had Christmas and Santa Claus at my maternal grandmother's house, and went to my paternal grandparents' house for Christmas Day, and we came back that night, and my great grandmother had died on Christmas Day. When I was 9, and that was my first experience really with grief and loss. I'd lost some other relatives before that, but not any I'd had as close a relationship as I did with her. And so that was a very impactful time because it took what had been a joyous day and totally rearranged the focus on more important things that day. And for a 9-year-old, that was a tough thing at the time.
See, at 9, you're just figuring all that out, right? So you're kind of feeling the grief that others are having. That sort of thing. That's a tough time. When we're talking about you losing your grandmother, everyone who lost someone in the last year is going to go through their first Christmas without their loved one. My dad passed 6 months ago. This will be everyone's first time without him there, right? I mean, it's always those first, and that's very tough. And I'm not sure how to handle that. That was the conversation with the Alcoholics Anonymous group guy, who again will play that this weekend. is how do you help people who are going to have troubles with that? This might be the first Christmas and New Year's that somebody's going through trying to get their lives better with alcoholism and handle that. How can you help them through that process? I think we need to look at those things. We need to find those people.
Absolutely. And, as you remember, I lost my only son. And so
Yes.
That first Christmas without him, where he would have been almost old enough to enjoy it and everything, was extra tough.
I can't
and
imagine.
I think knowing it and being sensitive is an important thing, and being there. I think we just have to tell people we love them and we're there for them. And I don't like to say I understand what you're going through, because I think everyone's situation is different. So the way I say that is I have an idea of what you're going through.
Oh, that's good.
Because if you say understand, everybody can say, well, you don't know exactly what I'm going through. And so,
yeah, my go-to is generally, I don't have any idea how bad it is. I can only imagine, and I would not want to be there. And if I can do anything. Speaking of which, by the way, The Unopened Present, you talk about your son, might be one of the most life-changing books I've ever read. Nothing wrong with your history books, but that's already happened. The Unopened Present, folks, pick it up if you're thinking about it this year for those who have had some loss in their life. The Unopened Present, Richard Battle wrote this thing to his son. It was a letter, 43
lessons.
43 lessons you want to make sure that he had taught his son as he was growing up, because Richard was an older guy, and tragedy strikes his son, or his family, but his son passes, and he never got to read the letter. And due to some God intervention on a radio show that wasn't this one, out of Iowa somewhere, if I remember,
yes,
they convinced him to write the book about it. And this is a changer. This is one of those grandparents, get it for your kids so they can do a similar thing. I think you're going to spur a lot of people into doing some really cool things for their kids. It's called The Unopened Present. I got to go to break. I'm way late, but I want to put
this is not a grief book. I wrote a grief book about that, but this is not a grief book. It's a parenting and life lesson book.
Well, it's just the idea of, in my opinion, putting it down in writing, and now we have video, so you don't even have to do that. You can do it on your phone. Yeah. The things you want your kid to know. So you don't stumble and forget to say something. You make a conscious effort towards it. And some of these are hilarious. Some are very poignant. It's a great read, and it's going to make you think, oh, I should do that for my kids. This isn't a grief book, but it's an unbelievable, uplifting book about, wow, I should do that. And then it'll put you thinking in a whole nother direction. I got to go to break. We'll be back after this with more with Richard Battle on The Al Travis Show.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservatives, liberals, independents, and others to restore trust, respect, and goodwill in politics. We seek not to eliminate our differences, but rather deal with them head-on, with respect and understanding. We do not try to change people's views, but how they view the other side. There will always be differences. Braver Angels Minnesota believes the best way forward is to change how we deal with those differences. Join the civil conversation at mn.braverangels.org.
Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Grateful to have Mr. Battle on the program. I'm going to bet one of our longest standing guests we've had. I don't know of anybody who's been on longer than you, Mr. Battle. Thank you for being here. We're talking Christmas. Ask you yours. Do you do Christmas movies? Is there anything that really strikes you this time of year?
Well, there's two that I think are must-sees every year. One is a Christmas movie. Well, it may not be a Christmas movie, but it's both must-see at Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life, but the other one I really encourage people to find and watch with their families is The Crossing, about Washington's crossing the Delaware on Christmas night and attacking Trenton the day after Christmas, because that saved the Revolutionary War. And to me, it's so important for us to understand what they went through and that sacrifice they gave us. And of course, the sacrifice of our Savior is similar, but even greater. But The Crossing to me is a must see.
As a history guy, I get that. That is very you. I wonder where I find that. You got to be able to find that streaming, right? I presume on the History Channel.
Streaming someplace. I have my DVD, so I don't have to worry about where it's at each year.
And a VCR of The Crossing, the original cut. The Wonderful Life thing, I love that movie, though. That is, to me, it's over the Christmas holidays. I get that movie. I love that movie. That is by far the number one Christmas movie out there, next to possibly A Christmas Story. But when it comes to life-changing movies you got to watch, that is a good one. I love it so much.
I think that's a great one, too, that families can sit and point out the differences between George Bailey and his life and the greedy banker who was self-focused and only focused on money, and the contrast of the experience they had for themselves, but also other people. And because the banker didn't help anybody but himself, and he had a miserable life. And George Bailey, even though he thought he wanted to go travel the world and everything, ended up being the richest man in town because he spent his whole life helping other people.
To bust it down as a movie itself, though, could not have been better cast. Jimmy Stewart is just absolutely wonderful in that movie. It's written well. The cast is wonderful. And then at the very end, it's the whole I feel like $1 million Christmas thing when the angel gets their wings. It is the perfect Christmas movie.
It is, and it's interesting because when it came out, it did not do very well in the public at all until they started showing it on TV. And once they did and people really understood it, then it took off.
Sir, we are out of time, but I want people to know absolute pleasure having you on for another year. I love that you come on this program and do it. I'm pushing the unopened present as a great gift idea. I know it's a little late. Get it to him in January. How does anyone go find all of your books? I mean, history, you talked about The Crossing, you got the history book. How does somebody pick up your stuff, sir?
Well, our website's richardbattle.com. All books there are signed. If you want something inscribed for a gift, we're happy to do that. Email me, richard@richardbattle.com after you order. You can find everything, all 12 on Amazon, including 11 in Kindle and 8 in audio as well.
Fair enough. Sir, you have yourself a very Merry Christmas, will you?
Merry Christmas to everyone. A Happy New Year, since we won't see you next week. And we look forward to 2026 with you, Al, and all your listeners.
Appreciate you, my friend. God bless America.
God bless America.
Love that.
When the stakes are high at the Minnesota Capitol,